Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Today I'm Bankroft being joined once again by Jimmy and Jake.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, y'all?
And like always, it's buttons on both. Feel free to click the deaf reason. But today's matchup is one of our first rounds at our locals this past weekend. It is Jake bringing back Golden Frieza, facing off one of our newer players. His name is Chris, playing SS4 Bardock. And I'll go ahead and get this out of the way. There are two different players this week playing this. This won't be the only time you see this video, deck archetype this week. So, let's get into it.
You can tell by the mats. Just letting you know.
Yeah.
If it wasn't obvious so far.
It's a pretty good bet.
I do like Godzilla.
Thanks, man.
Getting to the actual match. So, knowing that you like to play mid, going against SS4, I know Yellow has a lot of ways of saying, hey, attack one more time or attack with a cost. But how did you feel going into this matchup?
SS4 is always a challenge for Golden Frieza because they can really apply a lot of pressure in those first two turns, and I don't really get going, as it were, until turn 3. Just in general, that's like my go-off turn. So if he can apply a ton of pressure and like find ways to board multiple battle cards before I can really establish very much defense, then this matchup could be very rough. But as you can see here, I had an excellent start. Call into call, like charge a call, play a call, which is like your optimal start. And then I even had the free play Tagoma for more energy later on. So far, I'm feeling pretty good about the matchup.
Which is always nice.
Yeah. So we discussed a little bit before we started recording, which was also news to me, that this is Chris's first ever tournament game.
Yeah.
Which...
He's played the game before. Played the game before, but first tournament game, you're on stream, you got to be a little nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah, I mean, even your first tournament game, you're gonna be, on your toes, especially when it's on camera for everybody to see. So please excuse any like minor things. Like we're gonna talk to them about how they tap cards, which it doesn't bother us. It doesn't bother me, at least. I haven't talked to you guys about it, but I know it doesn't look great on camera.
Yeah, I come from Magic, man. People tap their cards all kinds of crazy ways. I'm used to it.
So let's go over this real quick, because this is a misplay. And it's not initially a misplay. It's just the wrong... I guess that is a misplay, but it's the wrong order of operations here. He comboed with 2 cards, but he first comboed with a 3-drop Goku, went ahead and paid for it to put it into the battle step, but that doesn't happen until the end of battle when you pay for it. So he kind of jumped the gun there, and I think you said that during the match you had spoken to him about that.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't have any response to that, but like, this is when this happens, but it's not a huge deal. We just kind of shorthanded it.
Yeah, which, to be honest, that's how we do a lot of our off-camera games. We tend to shorthand some of our effects just to keep the pace up, but we usually try to
on camera
play everything out properly, just for the viewing experience. Especially since you can't hear the direct dialogue between each player during the game, so you might lose
context.
I think I'm actually the only asshole who goes, stop drawing your card, let me negate first, even off camera.
That's our Bancroft.
Man,
I'm trying to get,
gotta love them.
But you gotta get everyone in the habit of doing that, though. I'm just saying.
Very true, very true.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start fucking over Bancroft out of spite.
So here's one of the floodgates Bancroft mentioned before, and Chris actually gets around this really well by choosing to continue his turn by playing a unison. Robotic Riposte actually doesn't interact with unisons at all, so he can still keep swinging and applying pressure, which is where he needs to be, especially after he smartly removed my Krillin. So it'll be much more difficult for me to awaken going into this turn.
So I completely forgot that Frieza said non-unison cards on it.
Yeah.
It's such a odd piece of text on that card.
Oh yeah.
It's like it hits everything but unisons, but the card has little to no interaction with unisons outside of that, so it just feels like flavor text for a card with no flavor. It's really odd, but also the Super Namekian play is huge.
Yeah, especially in a deck that you could just, since you were able to get like the free cards out there, so you already had plenty to go beforehand.
Yeah, normally right here I'd like to go into the trunks, but Super Namekian is just as good on 3, especially when I'm still unawakened. It'll kind of stem the bleeding a little bit.
Now, Jimmy, with the most experience of SS4 from all of us, is it just the blue 2-drop that draw? I know one of them draws cards, but is it just one of them?
So in this matchup, this would hurt the Unison play because the Unison's plus is a draw. It hurts the blue Vegeta that went into the energy because that's a draw to bottom one. I believe he does run SS4 Call on this list. SS4 Call would be affected by this. I'm not sure. I think that Sen Shenron draws a card. I cannot remember. I do not think it draws a card. I cannot remember off the top of my head. But just getting rid of those few draws, especially on the backside of the leader where you have to have all colors in play to get a draw to begin with, which he does here. But if there was a situation where he didn't have all 4 colors and he was awakened and wanted to swing to draw a card, he wouldn't be able to. So it locks him out of all options of drawing.
And here, another very solid play from Chris, where he thinks about attacking the leader and opts to just swing at the slug once he realizes it's got barrier to remove my other free battle card and just keep on pushing at the slug and turn on his draws again.
Yeah. I think right here he missed a energy because that Gogeta does not get its energy cost reduced. Or his combo cost reduced.
Maybe. Yeah, because he paid 1 for the thing, but that's okay though.
Yeah.
He said he was kind of nervous, so we will expect like some things like that.
What makes that card different, out of curiosity, for the leader's rolling?
So the leader specifies multicolors.
Okay.
And since he's a mono black, he does not. He would if he had another color because it is a SS4 card with the Xeno tag. So the Bardock specifies Xeno cards with multicolor Xeno cards.
Yeah.
Or multicolor SS4 cards.
Okay.
Yeah, which, I mean, we'll see if it changes anything, but I don't think it would really change much because Bardock can do a lot with 1 energy just as much as it can do with 2 energy.
Yeah. I will say that's not the only time we're going to see that misplay then.
Yeah, it happens a few times.
I think only
I wasn't aware that it was multicolor only. I thought it was just all SS4s got the reduction. Or all Xenos, I mean.
Which, I mean, it would be pretty much a free super combo, but I wouldn't think the deck would be too crazy with having that option as well. But again, turning that slug sideways first is always the best option, in my opinion. Sometimes it does put you in a weird position if you're playing like a yellow mirror match and you might lose out like a leader swing if they were to Zamasu your leader or whatever. But just having that slug in rest mode is just,
yeah,
at all times is so good.
So this is an interesting interaction.
Yeah, so I countered his green Gohan, and then he uses the Bardock to counter the cooler coming in. So battle's still going to go through. My cooler dies. He picks up a life off of the Bardock, and here I'm just explaining that it's the green text, so he doesn't really get to stop. Yeah. Especially if it's the first time you've seen that interaction, then you might not understand.
I like having memories of old school bad ring laser when I see stuff like this occur.
Wow. I'm glad you're enjoying that thought. You know, I may or may not have been first place in Columbus if Bad Ring Laser didn't exist, but you know, we'll save that for another time for me to bitch about it. But
so getting the overwhelm out early.
Yeah, I've been doing that more and more with this list because you're just powering cards into your drop area, and once you have multiple extra cards in your energy, you no longer need them in their drop area for your reductions. So I actually use this Bardock as removal here. I'm swinging at his battle cards and trying to get them off the table. Even though he can't warp my slug, swinging at it with that thwarting every turn and warping something else is just going to be too much for me to overcome. And luckily, I'm able to crack through it.
I think me, you, and the man who will not be named currently discussed your Golden Frieza list at the event, and you said you only ran one fighting against Fate in the list. Do you think you might go up on it now that you're playing it earlier in the game, and you could also save one for a finisher later on?
You know, that's the exact thing that we were discussing, and I'm kind of unsure. I don't really want to take anything out for another copy, just because you don't really need it. And but I would like to have access to another Overrealm. So I'm unsure, because I don't want to go deeper in cards, because I do want to keep some consistency, even though I draw like 4 or 5 cards a turn sometimes. I do run a lot of 3-ofs, so in order to keep that consistency up, I think I have to keep the deck size small. So I think it'd be worth experimenting with for sure, especially if you're trying this deck at your locals and play 2 fighting against Fate and see how that works for you.
Did he also miss the Vegeta auto here to rip a card, bottom deck it, and you draw a card?
Maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He did it earlier when he charged it. I didn't know it was when he played it as well. I thought when he played it, he got to draw 2 and bottom 1.
Yeah. When the 2-drop SS4s, they have a energy auto, then a play auto, or their energy auto is also a on-play auto, and then they have a separate on-play auto on top of it.
Oh, wow.
So you would get the rip 1, draw 1, as well as the draw 2 bottom deck 1.
So here was totally unexpected. This King Vegeta Kingdom Lost. I haven't had to deal with this card in a long time, but thanks to Jimmy, I actually have a lot of experience playing against this thing.
I absolutely love this card. This is one of those like few cards that I think is really underrated in the aspect of like a pivoting card, where this card can like kind of turn the match in your favor for such low energy investment. While its effects are not insane, it's just enough to make your opponent think a little too hard about it.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love that aspect of this card, and I never thought about running it in SS4 Bardock, and after seeing it in this list, of course you did Overrealm early in the in the game, so you had the cards in Warped for the cost. I don't know how it would fare outside of that, because you would really rely on warping cards with like your thwarting.
Speaking of warp, you see how the top carded by warp is the Dragon Fist now?
Mhm.
Did he hit that with the Vegeta or with Kingdom Lost when Kingdom Lost came into play?
I do not remember. I was not paying attention to that part.
When he played the card, you fanned your hand out and he picked the card.
Okay. So I thought he might have got the Vegeta one off, but it looks like it's just Kingdom Lost.
Oh, he overwhelmed the. Do you know how, I guess they didn't have the resources for it to bring out normally.
Yeah, he couldn't fuse the second copy.
It's always unfortunate, like getting an overwhelm tapped, because it's like almost a useless play. And then like anything that requires sparking, or like, you know, for example, like yellow, if you didn't have like the energy that you needed, you just lost out on a lot of resources, and it becomes tricky when to do certain things.
Oh yeah. And just like last week, I'm utilizing this Trunks as a little bit of removal and a little bit of pressure without popping the -3 instantly, which I feel like is something you could easily, like a mistake you could easily make playing this Unison. Just tapping 3 and instantly minusing 3.
And you could have just swung both attacks to both the battle cards. Like I said, like I don't agree with the -3 if you can get these swings off on battle cards, because it's either forcing cards out of your opponent's hands or they're losing a battle card, and that way you still have it for future turns. Now, once it loses that additional marker, you do have to bottom another card underneath it just to do the -3 if you have to.
Right. And here I'm getting a ruling. The plus or minus 0 effect doesn't actually have to switch the card to rest mode to get the KO. It just has to be a 4-drop or less. So even though this battle card is in rest, I'm going to go ahead and pop it with Trunks. And I'm comfortable dealing with 1 battle card and 1 leader swing going into this turn, so I felt like it was okay to spend that attack at my opponent's leader.
And I think it's because it's not considered a cost; it's a period, right? That's what you saw.
Right. It doesn't say if you do.
Yeah, it's not a cost related. It doesn't have the colon to make it a cost, and it doesn't say if you do. So it's just switch the card to rest mode, then KO it. So you target the card, fulfill as much as possible, KO it.
This was another unexpected play. I did not, since he was running the Bardocks, I didn't think he would be running this Broly as well. And it's actually going to be a bit of a thorn in my side here. I completely overlooked this card when the anniversary box came out. And I think I might give it a second look after this game. Not saying it's the greatest black unison, but...
one thing here, he does not have the 4th color for the draw and
right.
5.
That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah.
So that is a minor misplay. I don't know if it happened on the last turn. Bancroft can check that.
Yeah, he tapped the Frieza's army blocker to keep it from blocking, but immediately after this game, he picks up and reads his leader and is like, oh, I think I cheated you a little bit. I'm like, what? He's like, I didn't have yellow energy. And I'm like, dude, it's fine. I misplay on people all the time.
Isn't it 4 or more, though? Right?
Yeah, but it's non-black.
Non-black, okay.
So cool. He doesn't have the yellow energy to get the full effect. But that's okay. Like,
yeah. See, that's what I thought originally. I felt like someone recently had told me that the black's considered that. It's like, is that just for awakening, maybe?
Black is considered for... most of the effects except for the backside auto.
Okay.
Where most of them it says black is a color. For this one, it says non-black colors within your energy and battle area. Which, honestly, he probably deserves draw since he has to play against this yellow bullshit.
I mean, he's doing pretty well, though, as of right now.
He's got me at 1.
Getting past the not charging a card to combo the SS4 Gogetas, but...
Yeah. And not to walk back too far, this Broly Unison, I have read this card so many times, went, oh, that's decent, and then I just sit and look at the pretty art and go, yeah, I'm not going to put it in the deck. Because this art is incredible. Especially the foil ones, they're fucking dope.
Oh, yeah.
But after hearing you say that this card was actually kind of a thorn in your side, I might actually, again, take a second look at this.
I don't remember what it does.
So it got around my robotic riposte, which was like my main defense plan for that turn. I didn't think he'd have another unison. And then additionally, it's going to provide, he can remove markers to add power to his leader during my turn. So it's going to make my battles a little bit harder to pull off, especially when most of my board right now is 2 Frieza's army tokens. You can see there's a dice on the token there representing there's 2 of them.
I was like, huh, that's right, he doesn't carry 2 of those.
I could have grabbed another just card from somewhere, but the dice was sitting right next to me, and he was like, yeah, that's fine.
You can't combo them off, so yeah, they're just 10k battle cards.
Yeah, they're just dudes.
Huge Golden Frieza play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it can't pop the big Vegeta because he's barrier. But
yeah.
And I warp a card.
You warp Cold Bloodlust.
I'm tapped out. I'm tapped out. I can't use it.
That's fair, but oh man.
So here he's gonna proc the extra power to his leader, which I did not expect.
I guess that's an auto when your opponent attacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I still had enough combo power to end the game.
Yeah, and somehow he was able to come out of that. You still had potentially 2 more attacks with the Trunkses. And
Yeah.
it gets a little bit rough when you get to that point. But regardless, man, you played a good game.
Yeah, had me down to 1 life, and it was pretty close. Great showing for your first game ever. Sorry, I was playing this deck, man.
Well, with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and keep in mind those buttons down below and on the screen. And like always, read your cards, know your place, and fluff out.